Welcome to the HR Happy Hour Work Break. You're here with Trish and Steve. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. You know what? I've got a case of the Mondays. I feel like, first of all, I feel like I'm like a weather girl because I'm standing here like I'm normally seated at a desk when we do this, and I like a halo of a light around me. I'm all out of sorts. How are
Okay.
you? How's your Monday?
I'm in sorts, I suppose. Although there's something really loud happening outside and like in the street out there. I think some landscapers just turned up, but I will ignore them. Trish.
Did you say you're in shorts?
No, yeah, I am in shorts. It's gonna be like it was beautiful here. It was like 70 and sunny yesterday, and I think it will be again today. So,
Well, here in lovely Colorado, I guess I should go this way where the window is. Oh, right there. It is snowing. I just looked out right before we went live. I looked at it's like snowing in Colorado. So welcome to
that's
winter
awesome.
in my
Yeah, well,
world.
it is November technically, right? Today's November 1st.
You know what? Good point. It is November. So yeah, no, you know what? It's cold here, but I guess that's a good thing. So how was your Halloween? Did you dress up?
Uneventful. I did not. I pretty much didn't really participate in Halloween, sadly.
I didn't either.
I didn't. No candy.
You know what?
Nothing.
I was going to ask you, and I don't know if you do things like this because I know you use some social media, but you've kind of banned some of it over the years.
WeChat, yeah.
Do you use one of those like neighborhood apps where everybody kind of weighs in on like, you know, making sure everybody's safe, but of course then a lot of drama gets into those?
I'm aware of them. I don't use one, but yeah, like Nextdoor, I think is the biggest one, right?
Yes, Nextdoor, right? So somebody posted well, it's not even just a comment. They posted a complaint, and it's not even in my subdivision. It's not, you know, it's just sort of like peripherally in my awareness, but it prompted a good question that I wanted to ask you. So this person apparently put a whole bowl of candy on their porch.
Right.
Porch light on, right? You've seen, everybody does this.
Yeah, kind of the honor system kind of deal, right?
But no sign indicating like, hey, take one or take two or whatever, right? It's just a bowl of candy on the porch. And the complaint was that apparently some children, a group of children, older children, took all the candy. And it's on their Ring camera.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to set up the Ring camera and have like a little psychological experiment there, yeah.
Well, so they posted the video then. I'm saying like, hey, if any of these are your kids, you know, like here's what they did.
They're
right?
evil. Right, sure.
So my question is this though, because I have as I've learned, these aren't even my children. It's not even I have no skin in this race, right? But I feel like I do.
We are trying
so
to have a society here, Trish, all of us. So
my question for you and anyone watching or listening, whether live, replay, please tell me what I mean, is that worth being mad about? And my short answer is hell no. Hell no. I'll tell you why later. I would like to know, would that bother you if you put out a bowl of candy with no instructions and a group of children took it? They left the bowl. Took the candy.
It wouldn't bother me that much. I probably, might put up a little sign that says, you know, reminding people of their obligation here towards the other trick-or-treaters, you know, maybe like a little sign, like take one, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
And
I've
all
seen that.
So I think that's reasonable.
Some expectation setting.
I also think it's also reasonable to think that, you know, most kids, if these kids were old enough to be out trick-or-treating sort of unsupervised, which it sounds like they were, you know, then it's also reasonable to assume they should know better, that the bowl full of candy is not just for them or their little group, right? It's for everyone, quote unquote, and they really shouldn't do that. And I think that's reasonable to assume that as well. I wouldn't get that mad about it probably, just because, you know, I have a pretty dim view of a lot of human nature late in 2021. So it's sort of like, I'd half expect something like that to happen, maybe too.
I'll tell you, sadly. I mean, like, I'm on the side of the kids here because it was a group of them and they took it and there was no expectation set of how many.
I'm not coming down that far. I'm not on their side.
Well, no, here's why. Because my thing is like, if you're so lazy that you just want to stick your candy in a bowl out front, you can't really, like, you're home, you can't be bothered to get up off your butt and go answer your door for some little children, then don't participate. Don't
Yeah.
do it, right? Don't do it. Who decided that you could just, and not even put an expectation out there, but yet we're going to expect these children who have non-fully formed brains to have more self-control. Let's change the experiment. Now it's for adults. And I have a bowl of $100 bills.
Nice.
And I'm going to put on next door,
What
hey,
day do you go around the neighborhood to get those?
this reminds me of Matthew Stillman, our friend Matthew Stillman, who you had on the show many, many moons ago, actually episode 109 on the podcast.
Wow.
Where he would give advice in New York,
Yeah.
Union Station. We've talked about him many times, but he had a bin and it said something like, give what you can, take what you need.
Yes.
And so sometimes taking what you need is more than what the person expects.
Yeah, I still, though, think if you're a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid, which however old these kids were, I don't know. I didn't see the video.
Yeah, I don't know. Young teens.
You ought not to take all the candy. That's it. It's pretty simple to me. So there you go.
We're on opposite sides, as always.
Trish, speaking of the podcast. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just another general complaint too, just on Halloween. Like, if teenagers are trick-or-treating, just give them candy. They could be out doing so much worse. They could be egging your house. They could be out drinking. They could be out partying.
Egging my house.
They could be driving.
I feel like I'm being blackmailed.
You know, like, people complain about teenagers trick-or-treating. My God, give them a Snickers and shut up.
Yeah,
really.
I don't really have a problem with that.
Also, my last point, and then I'm going to get off my soapbox because I've been on this in a while. You can tell I'm fired up. I forgot my last point. I'm so angry.
Okay, well, maybe it'll come to you. Trish, I have a couple things I want to get to quickly. One, you mentioned the podcast. I did have a note from a prior podcast. Remember, Trish, when we had Martin Hartshorn from When I Work on the podcast? Yeah, that was back in February of this year. Well, good news for them, Trish. They closed a funding round of $200 million, probably in the form of a bowl of $100 bills, I think is how you get that, from Bain Capital.
There you go.
So congrats to When I Work. And, they do shift work, scheduling work for shift-based workers and businesses that employ shift-based workers for setting up schedules, trading shifts, communicating with the frontline employees on smartphones. It's a really cool solution, really cool business. Martin's a really cool guy, and congrats to them. And if you want to learn more about them too, just check out the podcast we did in February on the HR Happy Hour with Martin. So congrats to them. 200 mil.
He was so bright. It doesn't surprise me that business is really taking off. So congratulations.
You could buy a very large bowl of candy with 200 million, enough for all those grubby teenagers.
He's got lots of candy, right?
Be able to supply everyone.
I don't know, but we want them all to have self-restraint on how much they take.
You by your reckoning, it'd be okay if the first group of teens came up and took the whole 200 million.
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying, like, we can't expect children who have undeveloped brains to have more self-control and self-restraint when all of the adults in our world are going absolutely crazy about everything with no restraint. Change the topic for me. Oh my gosh.
I got a Trish, I wrote notes all weekend. I've got tons of stuff here.
All right, let's do one more.
Merriam-Webster, Trish, folks who publish dictionaries have released.
Was that a real person?
There were two. I think the Webster and Merriam-Webster is like Daniel Webster from like hundreds of years ago. I think.
Yeah,
that's the Webster.
And then Merriam is another person.
I'm not sure who Merriam is. I bring that up not for trying to figure that out, but they added 455 new entries to the dictionary. 455, which is a ton. Here is just a few samples of new dictionary entries according to Merriam-Webster. Ready, Trish? And you just comment on any of these if you feel like it. I'll just go through a few of them. Air fryer.
Oh, we use that word.
Okay. Dad bod. That's in the dictionary now. Dad bod.
I feel like, is that really in the dictionary? I feel like that's not a word. Dad bod to me is like two things.
Yeah. So they're careful to say these are not words necessarily. They're entries, things you could look up in the dictionary. They're not necessarily words.
Okay.
Right. Because the air fryer is it's a thing. It's two separate words.
Two words also, right? Yeah. Okay.
Fluffer nutter. Trish, fluffer nutter now in the dictionary.
I don't know what that means, but the only time I've heard of a fluffer is not in that context, and I'm not going to
That
say
is the
it
peanut
because
butter and
I'm a
peanut.
polite young lady.
That is the peanut butter and fluff sandwich, Trish, the fluffer nutter. You must have seen it somewhere.
Oh, yeah, that's not what I thought that was.
I certainly don't know what you're referring to. Whataboutism, Trish, in the dictionary now.
Oh.
Whataboutism, right? That's when you sort of raise when I say, oh, these evil teenagers took all the candy, and you come back with, well, what about the dumb lazy parent who just left the candy out there? That's when you're arguing with someone.
I'm down.
You throw the what about out there, like what about what you did? That's whataboutism. Digital nomad, right? That became a very popular term.
Yeah, that's real.
And finally, Trish, FTW. Do you know what FTW represents? The little acronym FTW.
For the win.
For the win.
For the win.
In the dictionary. There you go.
Awesome.
I'll save some of my other great material for tomorrow or Wednesday. I got a lot. I bought books. I can talk about them. We talked about books on Friday. I ordered 2 books. They
very good.
I'll talk about those on Wednesday as well. So,
all right. Well, good. Well, hey, have a great rest of your Monday. Thanks everyone for checking in with us on this, I guess, sunny if you're on the East Coast Monday and snowy if you're in the Midwest and mountains. And
I'm about to go have some candy. Well, actually, I'm not having candy because the teenagers took it all. So,
don't make me fight you today. It's not the day. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. We will catch you back here on Wednesday.